Hello everybody, welcome to another Nephilim build. It's Halloween, so today we're going to redefine science fiction as Frankenstein. This will be more of a conceptual build based on how he's portrayed across all media, but we will be using Mary Shelley's novel as a basis. With that said, let's start with ability scores. Using point buy will make intelligence 15. Frankenstein was remarkably intelligent. Next we'll make constitution 14. He survived surprisingly well in the Arctic before he died. We'll also make dexterity 14. We're not exactly wearing plate armor, so our AC will need some help. Up next we'll make charisma and wisdom 10. His people skills could use some work, and hindsight was not his strong suit. Lastly, we'll dump strength. He's got noodly nerd arms. Oh, I'm sorry, did you think we were making the creature? Nope, Frankenstein was the man, not the monster. Although if you've read the original novel, he was still kind of a monster. Sadly, I couldn't find any artwork of Victor that wasn't cartoony, so we're sticking with what we've got. Anyway, for species, we'll go with human, getting resourceful and taking athletics. He must have gotten pretty good at digging graves after a while. We'll also take the healer feat. He probably also got good at sewing people up. This lets us expend a use of a healer's kit as an action to heal a creature. That creature expends one of its hit dice and heals an amount equal to the amount rolled plus our proficiency bonus. We can also re-roll any ones rolled using this feature or a healing spell, but we've got to use the new rolls. We'll also speak common and giant. Given Adam's size, Victor probably used Goliath parts. By the way, the creature never officially had a name, but at one point he says, "I should have been your Adam," so he's often named that in other media. For background, we're going to go with Sage, putting our increases into intelligence and constitution. Despite popular media, Victor was a college dropout, not a doctor. Either way, this is the closest background option. We'll get Arcana, History, and Calligrapher supplies, as well as the Magic Initiate Wizard feat. Magic Initiate lets you pick Cleric, Druid, or Wizard and learn 2 cantrips and a first level spell from that class. The first level spell can be cast once for free per long rest and be cast again using spell slots, which is how the feat should have always worked. I mean, it kind of did, but only if you were the same class as the class you were pulling spells from, and the rules never actually explained that. We can also swap one of the spells we learned from this feat for another of the same level each time we level up. These spells use our choice of Wisdom, Charisma, or Intelligence, which we choose when we take the feat. We can take this feat multiple times, but we have to pick a different class each time. Honestly, kind of want to make a character around that. Anyway, for us, we'll take Shocking Grasp for something taser-like, Blade Ward to fill the slot, and Witch Bolt. Fun fact, the lightning thing was made up for the movies. The book never actually tells us how Victor created life. Still, it's impossible not to include it at this point. Moving on to class, we're going to go with Artificer. We'll get Intelligence and Constitution saving throws, Medicine and Nature, and be proficient with light and medium armor, shields, and simple weapons. We'll also be proficient with Thieves' Tools, Tinker's Tools, and Weaver's Tools. At level 1, we get Magical Tinkering and 2 cantrips, taking Mending to fix our equipment and Spare the Dying for a smidge of that resurrection. Mending still repairs a break or tear in an object that isn't larger than 1 foot in any dimension. It can physically repair a magic object, but can't restore its magic. Spare the Dying still stabilizes a creature that has a 0 HP but isn't dead, but now it has a range of 15 feet. That range also doubles at the normal cantrip scaling levels. We'll also prepare for a spell taking Absorb Elements for some resistances and False Life to use some of that Blasphemy on ourselves. The new version of this gives us 2d4 plus 4 temporary HP and increases by 5 for each level we upcast it. I'll also take Cure Wounds for some more contemporary death prevention, which heals a creature we touch by 2d8 plus our spellcasting mod. We'll also take Sanctuary, letting us ward a creature for 1 minute or until they make an attack roll, cast a spell, or deal damage. When a creature targets the warded creature with an attack roll or a non-AoE damaging spell, it must make a Wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, it must choose a new target or lose the attack or spell. Letting someone else take the heat isn't a foreign concept to Victor. If you know, you know. At level 2, we get our infusions taking Mind Sharpener and Repeating Shot. We're not going to have any ranged cantrips, so we might need a crossbow or a firearm. We'll also take Alarm to let us know if someone breaks into our lab. We pick a door, window, or space no larger than a 20-foot cube. The spell lets off an alarm whenever a creature enters or touches the area, which can be audible or mental. The audible version is a 10-second ringing within 60 feet of the area, while the mental one is a mental ping with a 1-mile range. We can also select specific creatures that won't set off the alarm when we cast the spell. At level 3, we get the right tool for the job and our Artificer Specialist. We're going to be a Battlesmith, getting Smith's Tools, Battle Ready, and our Steel Defender. You didn't think I wouldn't include Adam, did you? We'll also get Shield and Heroism from our subclass. Heroism makes a creature you touch immune to the fighting condition and gives them temporary HP equal to your spellcasting ability modifier at the start of each of their turns. At level 4 we get the Elemental Adept Lightning feat, Bumping Intelligence. Allows to take Enlarge Reduce to enlarge or reduce an object that isn't being worn or carried, or a creature. If the creature is unwilling, it must make a con save. Everything the creature is wearing or carrying changes size with it, and any item it drops returns to its normal size. A thrown weapon or piece of ammo also returns to its normal size after the attack hits or misses. An enlarged creature increases in size by 1 category and has advantage on strength checks and saves. Any attack it makes with an enlarged weapon or unarmed strike deals 1d4 extra damage. A reduced creature decreases in size by 1 category, has disadvantage on strength checks and saves, and deals 1d4 less damage with reduced weapons and unarmed attacks. Okay, I messed up and it's way too late to fix it now. Obviously what you're going to want to do is draw a blank at this level and then take this spell at level 5. Also, if you're new to the channel or haven't been here in a while and you're wondering why I'm explaining some things and not others, it's because I'm only explaining the new stuff from the 2024 handbook the first time it comes up. And honestly, I'm probably going to stop doing that after this video. I just do not have enough time to make videos where I explain everything mechanically all the time, and if I only explain the new stuff once, then eventually I'm going to run out of stuff to explain, and it's going to be like I never started doing it anyway. Anyway, I'm taking Enlarge Reduce in case you want Adam to be large-sized. Though if we're being honest, lore-accurate Adam would probably be equivalent in size to a Goliath, and they're still medium-sized. At level 5 we get extra attack and then get Branding Smite and Warding Bond from our subclass. Warding Bond was reprinted, but it's still the same. You form a bond with a creature within range and that creature gains a +1 to its AC and saving throws and resistance to all damage. Each time it takes damage, you take the same amount and the spell ends if you drop to 0 HP or are more than 60 feet away from the target. Now normally I'm all for using this as a battlesmith, but sharing the damage is a little too close to being a responsible parent to be accurate. At level 6 we get Tool Expertise and take Spell Refueling Ring. There's just no good reason to not take this ever. We'll also take Arcane Lock to lock up our lab. You magically lock a closed door, window, gate, container, or hatch until you dispel it. You and any creature you choose upon casting the spell can open the thing regardless of the spell, and you can set a password that unlocks it for 1 minute when spoken within 5 feet of the thing. The only thing that's really changed about this spell is that it originally included a blurb where the knock spell suppresses the lock for 10 minutes. This effect still exists, it's just now part of the knock spell. At level 7 we'll get Flash of Genius, and at level 8 we'll take the Lucky Feat. You gain a number of luck points equal to your proficiency bonus and can spend one to give yourself advantage on a d20 test or give another creature disadvantage on an attack roll against you. In either case, you spend the point when the roll is made. More chances to use, more risk of failure. I can live with that. Also, I see the odd intelligence score, I'm ignoring it for now. We'll also take Enhance Ability. At level 9 we'll get Arcane Jolt, making Adam stronger, and we'll get Aura Vitality and Conjure Barrage. With Aura Vitality we emit a 30-foot emanation for the duration. When we cast the spell and at the start of each subsequent turn, we can restore 2d6 hit points to a creature within that emanation. Conjure Barrage fires a 60-foot cone. Creatures of our choice within that cone take 5d8 force damage on a failed dex save or half as much on a successful one. This can now be used with any melee or ranged weapon worth at least 1 copper rather than needing a thrown weapon or ammunition. Not gonna lie, this build has a lot more force and a lot less lightning than I expected. At level 10 we'll get Magic Item Adept and take the Helm of Awareness, just call it a pair of goggles. We'll also take Guidance as well as Revivify for a pocket version of whatever the hell Victor did to raise Adam. Unfortunately, the higher level Jesus spells aren't available to intelligence casters. Sure, wizards have Animate Dead and Create Undead, but Adam is fully alive, not an undead. Besides, if we go with the broader media, Victor had a whole apparatus for creating life wholesale. Oh, and Revivify works the same as before. You revive a creature that died within the last minute to 1 HP. It can't revive anyone who died of old age, and it doesn't restore lost body parts. At level 11 we'll get Spell Storing Item, give Adam Enlarge Reduce to make him big, or give him Witch Bolt if you want him to shoot lightning. At level 12 we'll raise our intelligence and take Elemental Weapon. A non-magical weapon you touch becomes a +1 magic weapon that deals an additional 1d4 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. 3 guesses which one we're using. If you use the 5th or 6th level slot, it becomes +2 and 2d4, and with 7th and up, it becomes +3 and 3d4. As we learned from Richter, those d4s add up. Also, I'm realizing at this point in the editing and recording that I fucked up again. I accidentally gave one too many spells at level 1 and it threw off my spell count. That's why I'm only taking 1 spell at this level, even though our modifier went up and it's an even level. Like, I have been so tired and stressed lately, I gave myself enhanced ability at this level, even though I already took it at level 8. At level 13, we'll get Aura of Purity and Fire Shield from our subclasses. Aura of Purity is a 30-foot emanation. You and your friends within that emanation have resistance to poison damage and advantage on saving throws against nasty stuff. That nasty stuff being the blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned conditions. Fire Shield gives you either a warm shield or a chill shield, which gives you cold or fire resistance respectively. A creature within 5 feet of you that hits you with a melee attack takes 2d8 fire or cold damage respectively. We also shed 10 feet of bright light and another 10 feet of dim light. Neither of these really fit Frankenstein, but I'm sure Victor would have loved a warm shield out in the Arctic. Speaking of, at level 14 we'll get Magic Item Savant and take the Boots of the Winterlands. We'll also take Resistance. Now, the new Resistance is different from Guidance and Blade Ward. You touch a creature and pick a damage type that isn't Force or Psychic. Once per turn, when the creature takes damage of that type, they reduce it by 1d4. We'll also take Summon Construct to bring in the Bride of Frankenstein. We create a construct spirit that uses a provided stat block for the duration, choosing clay, stone, or metal. It is an ally to us and our allies, shares our initiative count, but takes its turn immediately after ours. It uses its movement to avoid danger and takes the dodge action unless we give it an order to do something else, no action from us required. We'll specifically go with the clay version since its berserk clashing reaction is consistent with a lot of media portrayals. It also serves as a reference to the novel's original title, The Modern Prometheus, since Prometheus made humans from clay. By the way, the bride was never actually brought to life in the novel, and different movies and shows have given her different names. Since we're sticking with Adam for the creature, we'll go with Eve to be thematic. At level 15, we'll get Improved Defender to make Adam the beefiest he can be. At level 16, we'll take the Gift of the Chromatic Dragon for another source of elemental resistance and more lightning damage for our weapons. Again, those d4s add up. We'll also take Protection from Energy to give a creature we touch resistance to acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage. At level 17, we'll get Banishing Smite and Mass Cure Wounds from our subclass. Banishing Smite triggers as a bonus action when we hit a creature with a melee weapon or unarmed strike. It should be noted that all reprinted Smite spells work like this. For this one, the creature takes an extra 5d10 force damage. If this attack reduces it to 50 HP or fewer, it must succeed on a Charisma save or be transported to a harmless demiplane until the spell ends. It's incapacitated while it's there and it returns to its previous space or the nearest unoccupied space when the spell ends. Not gonna lie, wizards should have either left out the Charisma save like the old spell did, or removed the 50 HP qualifier. Meanwhile, Mass Cure Wounds heals up to 6 people within a 30-foot radius sphere centered on a point within range for 5d8 plus your spellcasting modifier. Neither of these spells really fit this build. Artificers have some weird expanded spell lists. At level 18, we'll get Magic Item Master and take the Ring of Protection as well as Elemental Bane. This synergizes a lot worse than I'd hoped going into this, but the options are there. Just have Adam use Witch Bolt through your spell-starring item while you use Chroma Gift or Shocking Grasp. And now we're out of spell room. I swear to Gygax, this build has been cursed from start to finish. Worst part is I would have one space to spare if I didn't have Magic Initiate. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to address this in future builds, but I'll figure something out. For now, I've got 2 more spells to put in this build, just pretend they're there. Now we're at level 19. Now, Artificers haven't been reprinted yet, so technically we're supposed to get a normal ability score improvement here. But all of the reprinted classes get an epic boon, and when am I ever going to get 19 levels of a single class again? So we'll take the boon of Spell Recall, Bumping Intelligence. We also get to roll a d4 anytime we cast a spell using a spell slot of 1st to 4th level. If the number matches the spell slot used, we don't lose it. We'll also take Glyph of Warding to booby trap our lab. We inscribe a glyph on a surface or within an object that can be closed. The glyph cannot be larger than 10 feet in diameter, and if the surface or object is moved more than 10 feet from where the spell was cast, the glyph breaks and the spell is wasted. It requires a perception check against your spell save DC to be noticed, and you decide whether it's an explosive rune or a spell glyph. The explosive rune deals 5d8 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder damage to each creature in a 20-foot radius sphere centered on the glyph. Each creature takes half as much on a successful dex save. The spell glyph casts a predetermined spell of 3rd level or lower that you cast while casting this spell. That spell must target a single creature or area. If it targets a creature, it targets the creature that triggered the spell. If it targets an area, that creature is centered on the triggering creature. If it summons hostile creatures or hazards, they are created as close to the triggering creature as possible. If the spell requires concentration, it lasts the full duration with no concentration required. You can refine the trigger so that it can only be activated by certain creatures or set conditions for it not to be triggered. Good grief, glad I'm not doing this anymore after this video. Lastly, level 20 will get Soul of Artifice and take Animate Objects. We choose a number of objects equal to our spellcasting ability modifier that aren't being worn or held, aren't fixed to a surface, and aren't gargantuan. Medium and smaller creatures count as 1, large count as 2, and huge count as 3. The objects animate, sprout legs, and become constructs using the provided stat block. They share your initiative and take their turns immediately after yours. For the spell duration, you can use a bonus action to give an order to any number of these objects within 500 feet of you. Otherwise, they dodge and move to avoid harm. Now you might be wondering why I'm taking this spell. Well, did you know that non-undead corpses count as objects? Yeah, the stuff I said about the zombie spells. Not my fault artificers have such a limited list. Now that we're level 20, we finally have our modifiers. For inventory, we'll take a light crossbow, though I won't complain if you give him a gun. We'll also take a set of Tinker's Tools for spellcasting. Our AC with the Ring of Protection is 13, our move speed is 30, and our average HP is 163 with 20 d8 hit dice. And with that, we are done. Now what can this build do? To start, we've got a solid battle buddy with Adam to take the heat, do a little healing, and even throw out a little extra lightning if we give him Witch Bolt. We can also bring in reinforcements with Eve or some animated objects. We also pack a decent amount of damage ourselves with either Elemental Weapon, Witch Bolt, or Elemental Bane. For weaknesses, all of our good stuff is concentration, so we have to choose what we want for the situation. Our AC is also terrible, and we arguably wasted a feat on Elemental Adept Lightning when we don't have very much lightning. I honestly thought Base Artificer had more than 3 spells. Weaknesses aside, maybe this time we can actually be a good father. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to support my channel, there's a link to my Patreon down in the comments. $1 a month gets you 2-day early access to my videos, a chance to vote for future characters, and access to all of my homebrew content. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments, and I'll see you all next time when I make Iron Man from Marvel Comics.